Welcome to summer school, lessons from the Pediatric ER.
Class is now officially in session.
If you listened to our episode last week, you know that every week this summer, we're going to take one lesson from the Pediatric Emergency Department and break it down for parents.
The goal isn't to scare anyone, it's to help families enjoy summer while avoiding some of the predictable injuries and illnesses we see every year.
So, Alicia, what is the first lesson?
It's about my least favorite holiday to work in, the emergency department.
I know the answer to this one. It's the 4th of July, isn't it?
It's the 4th of July. Don't get me wrong. Summer holidays are always fun holidays. Cookouts, watermelon, cake, watching kids run around way past their bedtimes. I just prefer that the fireworks stay several hundred yards away from me.
An occupational hazard.
Definitely an occupational hazard.
And the reality is that fireworks are expensive. Dogs hate them. Many veterans dread them. We see air quality go down. And pediatric emergency physicians have super mixed feelings, which brings up the question, why are we still doing this?
Because they're pretty.
That's the defense?
Yes, they're pretty. But honestly, I understand why so many people love fireworks. They're beautiful. They're impressive. It is so awe-inspiring to see these giant glowing things in the sky. And I don't want anyone to stop celebrating. I just want families to understand the risks well enough. Because every 4th of July, pediatric emergency departments across the country prepare for the same thing. Burns, eye injuries, hand injuries.
And unfortunately, sometimes these injuries can permanently change a family's life.
But the good news is that most of these injuries are preventable, if not all of them. And that's exactly why we're talking about them today.
Da, 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 da. So welcome back to the Rolin Forward podcast. I'm Dr. Stephanie Rolin.
I'm Dr. Alicia Rolin.
I'm a forensic psychiatrist.
And I'm a pediatric emergency physician.
We're sisters, physicians, researchers, and podcasters.
And today we're starting our summer school series with a timely topic. We're talking about fireworks, sparklers, burns, eye injuries, hearing injuries, and how to celebrate safely without coming to meet me and my colleagues in the emergency department.
So today's episode is tied to the 4th of July, which is coming up in just a few days. But the episode isn't about ruining the 4th of July.
Marvell does call me Dr. No.
We all call you Dr. No.
Because I say no to everything.
It's true.
But my goal is not to say no to the holiday. It's how to enjoy the holiday safely.
Without coming to meet you afterwards.
Forward, Dr. Sister Science Facts.
So let's start with the obvious question. Why are we dedicating an entire episode to fireworks?
Because this is one of the most predictable injury patterns we see every summer. Every year, thousands of people are injured by consumer fireworks, and many of those injuries happen to children and teenagers. In fact, the Consumer Product Safety Commission estimates over 10,000 firework-related emergency department visits per year, and the vast majority occur in the weeks leading up to and just after the 4th of July.
Which is an incredible number of emergency department visits.
It is a lot, and these aren't just little burns. While about 40% of the injuries are burns, we also see injuries to hands, fingers, heads, faces, eyes.
All parts of my body that I enjoy having on my body.
And the injuries can often require surgery, skin grafts, or permanently affect someone's vision or hand function.
Let's break it down a little more granular. And let's start with sparklers. Because I think almost every parent thinks, or hopes maybe, are these the safe fireworks?
Honestly, I think that's one of the most dangerous misconceptions. According to the recent Consumer Product Safety Commission data, nearly half of all firework injuries in children younger than 5 involve sparklers.
Seriously?
Seriously.
This is disappointing.
It's very disappointing because they're so fun.
So fun.
They're so fun. But the reality is, this is the firework that parents are most likely to hand their preschooler, and so they're responsible for a huge proportion of injuries in this age group.
Why are they so dangerous? They seem harmless and fun.
They are so fun. It's because they burn at nearly 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
That is hot enough to melt some metals.
And unfortunately, it's hot enough to burn your skin and cause a 3rd-degree burn in a fraction of a second. The other big risk of sparklers that parents don't think about is that the second that they're no longer sparkly and shiny, they're still hot.
And I can imagine a child might think that it was off and grab it without realizing it's still 2000 degrees.
And it causes a significant amount of hand burns.
Wow. I had not considered that before.
And unlike a bottle rocket, one of those huge fireworks that go into the sky, parents are more likely to give one to their toddler. And on any other day of the year, would you hand your child a hot flaming candle at 2000 degrees Fahrenheit to play with?
I think people would think that I had lost my mind if I did that.
Exactly. But every 4th of July, we're like, this is great. Here you go. Go play. And I think this is one of the traditions that might be worth rethinking, especially in the little age group.
Okay. But what about, what do you call it? Those little pellets that you throw on the ground and they pop?
Pop.
Pop. Those are fun.
Those are really fun. They're called poppets, or sometimes I think snap pops. And compared to sparklers or bottle rockets or firecrackers, they're much lower risk. But they're still fireworks. It's still considered a novelty firework, and they contain a small amount of silver fulminate, which creates that popping sound when they're thrown.
So are they actually okay or are they not okay?
So generally, they're one of the safer 4th of July products for children when used appropriately. But I still wouldn't let young children play with them unsupervised or, throw them at other people, which toddlers are prone to do. Having one pop in your hand, near your face, in your eye could cause significant injury, let alone having one pop in your mouth.
Because toddlers are really good at putting things in their mouths that they shouldn't.
Do not swallow and eat the firework.
I mean, that's terrible. You've convinced me. So, what are some other alternatives I could offer my 3-year-old instead of just saying no?
I love glow sticks.
Oh, glow sticks are really fun.
LED ones.
Ooh.
Little tiny flags. Bubbles.
Bubbles. That's a great one, actually.
Anything that lets the kid be a part of the celebration, running around without putting, a 2000 degree piece of metal in their hand.
Okay. So we're no on sparklers. We're no on snap-its, particularly for younger age groups. And now let's talk about the bigger fireworks. Those are the ones that we'll see up in the sky. People sometimes light them in their neighborhood. And you've told me stories about a significant risk that happens quite commonly, which is when one of these fireworks is lit, everyone's waiting, and then they don't go off.
The firework that doesn't go off. The dud. And if people remember one thing from today's episode, I hope it's never, ever, 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 ever pick up a dud firework. Don't run over and put your face in to go look at it. Don't pick it up with your hand. Don't approach a firework that didn't go off.
Because when a firework doesn't go off, most people assume it's defective. But what's actually happened is that it hasn't gone off yet. It may still ignite seconds or minutes later.
And I see this every single year. Teenagers are lighting fireworks. One doesn't go off. They pick it up to look at it and boom, it explodes while in someone's hand.
That sounds so heartbreaking.
It can be really devastating for families. Kids are naturally curious. Adults are curious and they think that the danger has passed, and it really hasn't.
So if there is a firework dud, instead of picking it up, looking at it, touching it, what should people do?
The recommendation is actually very straightforward. If a firework doesn't ignite, don't approach it. Don't relight it. I think that's the other thing. People are like, oh, the flame didn't go through. Let me relight it. Don't do that. Leave it alone for 20 minutes. Then soak it with water before disposing it according to your local guidelines. And never, ever, ever, ever let a child go and investigate the firework that didn't go off.
Okay, heavy topic this week. But I think it's really important because we know that you are going to have a number of injuries coming into the emergency department here. So when fireworks go wrong, what injuries are you most worried about?
There's 3 most common things: injuries to the hands, injuries to the eyes, and burns. And so let's start with the hands.
Let's start with the hands, I guess, out of the bad options.
Fireworks explode. Boom. And hands are usually the closest body part to that explosion. You pick it up, you look at it, you're setting it down. And so we see burns, broken bones, tendon injuries, nerve injuries, and unfortunately, all too often, traumatic amputations.
And those injuries can be permanent.
Absolutely. A lot of these injuries require many, many surgeries, skin graft, and years of rehabilitations. And sometimes there's nothing that we can do, and people lose fingers, parts of their hand, the entire hand.
I'm almost afraid to ask about the eyes now.
Eye injuries scare me just as much. A firework doesn't have to hit you directly. There's flying debris, there's ash, there's fragments, even a spark. And while we're looking up to the beautiful sky, all of these are flying down and can land directly in your eye.
And I'm imagining that can cause significant eye injuries.
Approximately 1/3 of eye injuries from fireworks results in permanent blindness.
Wow.
I don't know if you remember, but when we were young, we went to the fireworks show at our local park together. We were all looking up, spectators, and it must have been a windy day, and some of the ash landed into my classmate's eye.
Wow.
And she had to wear an eye patch all throughout first grade. And it's why I always remind families that being a spectator doesn't mean that you're safe. Firework injuries most often affect people launching fireworks, but they can also affect people watching fireworks.
You've convinced me to stay inside for the fireworks.
You have glasses.
It's true. Glasses must protect me.
It's like the one time that you're like, glasses are great.
Glasses are wonderful.
Don't wear your contacts.
Okay, so not wearing my contacts on 4th of July again. Good to know. But if someone is in a situation where something gets into their eye, what's the first thing that people should do?
The first thing is don't rub it. And that's everyone's instinct. But rubbing can make the injury worse. You have a small piece of ash in your eye, and all of a sudden you're like moving it all around your eyeball.
Ugh.
Second, if there's something stuck in your eye, don't remove it. And importantly, don't put pressure. Don't assume it's just a scratch. All eye injuries deserve prompt medical evaluation because vision is not something you want to mess with.
Now I'm even more scared to go into the third category of injuries. So we did hands, we did eyes, and now let's talk about burns. Because I think most people assume if it's a small burn, I'll just put some ice on it.
Please don't. The first thing you should do is cool a burn under cool, not ice cold, running water for about 20 minutes.
20 minutes? That's longer than I would have guessed.
It feels like forever, especially when you're 3 years old and the water isn't comfortable and your burn hurts and you're crying and you're like trying to have your toddler keep their arm there. Everyone's crying. 20 minutes is a long time. But this helps cool the burn and stop the heat from continuing to damage the skin because burns can continue to damage skin even after the source is gone.
But what about butter? I've definitely heard that recommendation.
No butter, no toothpaste, oils, mayonnaise, egg whites, coffee grounds, tomato juice. I see all sorts of home remedies in the emergency department, and it's really painful to remove those substances from the raw skin.
Oh, okay. That's terrible. So when should someone go to the emergency department?
Definitely seek care if the burn involves the face, the eyes, the hands, the feet, genitals, any major joint space, elbows, knees. If it's a large burn, if it looks deep, if it's forming blisters, or if you're worried.
And this is a good reminder that children's skin is quite a bit thinner than adults, so a burn can be more serious than they initially appear. And it really can take hours for the full extent of damage to appear.
Often, burns initially look like sunburns. With time, they can start to bubble and blister, and that's when you should go and seek care in the emergency department.
So, you've convinced me not to do fireworks. And what if the American Academy of Pediatrics were sitting here with us? What would they want to tell families?
So the American Academy of Pediatrics actually has a pretty strong stance. They support a nationwide ban on the private use of any and all fireworks. They instead recommend attending professional fireworks shows rather than lighting fireworks at your home.
Which I know isn't what most people want to hear, but that's where the evidence points.
Professional displays are conducted by trained personnel with safety precautions that simply don't exist in your backyard. And a lot of communities are actually transitioning to drones and laser light shows as safer alternatives than fireworks shows.
Let's say that despite all of this, someone is still planning to use legal consumer fireworks. What advice would you give?
A few practical things. One responsible, sober adult should be in charge of lighting fireworks. This is not something to do as you've had a couple beers in the backyard.
Modelo in one hand and a bottle rocket in the other? No.
There are more fires initiated on the 4th of July than any other day of the year.
Oh.
So, be cognizant. You should never let children handle fireworks. You should keep spectators well back. And this is really important. Always have a bucket of water or garden hose ready nearby before you start. Only light one firework at a time. Never put any body part over that firework. Never lean over it. Never look over it. Never put your hand over it. Don't try to relight one that doesn't ignite. And once you're done, soak all the used fireworks in water before throwing them away.
And although those recommendations sound like common sense, I am sure that this list exists because people are seriously injured each year by not following these recommendations.
Safety recommendations are often written in response to tragedies, but the good news is that when families follow them, we can learn from our mistakes.
So if there's one message from today's episode, it would be
respect fireworks. They're beautiful, they're fun, but they are still explosives. Treat them with the same respect that you'd give any other explosive device.
Okay, so with that, as we're concluding our episode, I'm adding glow sticks and bubbles to our shopping list for this weekend so that we'll be sure that we have lots of fun things for the kids to do on 4th of July. Because something that I'm really taking away from today's conversation is that these injuries are so common, but they're also preventable. And one of the best ways to prevent it is just not to bring any fireworks into our home.
As pediatricians, we don't talk about injury prevention because we want to take the fun out of childhood. We talk about it because we've seen what happens when things go wrong, and we much rather help families avoid these injuries than treat them afterwards. And honestly, your 4-year-old's not going to know what they're missing out with sparklers when they have a fun light-up wand.
So this weekend, celebrate. Have the barbecue. Eat the corn on the cob. Stay out past bedtime. Watch professional firework displays, preferably from inside with your glasses on. Make memories with your family. Just do it safely. Because the 4th of July should end with your fingers sticky from popsicles, not in the ED with burns.
Rolling forward, doctor, sister, science, facts.
And that's our show for today. Next week, we'll be back with another lesson from the Pediatric Emergency Room.
And if you're enjoying the summer school series, we'd love it if you would subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and share the podcast with another parent, grandparent, coach, caregiver.
Because the more people who hear these messages, the more kids get to enjoy summer the way that it was meant to be.
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Rolling forward, doctor, sister, science, facts.
In honor of America's birthday, we have a special guest who is here to sing their favorite American national anthem.
Lift every. You want me to take a new one? Our lifted voice and sing. Turn to heaven, ring with the harmony, song of pretty. Rise out of the daily sky. Bashar children and so sit the sun full of the face that the busters the face it rising skies the daddy skies never Bashar children and so lift every voice and sing, turn to the heaven, ring, ring with the humble ring, so liberty.